Hey everyone, here's yet another edition of some prep for spine progression tonight. As you see, I put together a little map for the raid. I wanted everybody to have a look at this before tonight's raid to help us advance our progression. Basically, the plan, as discussed with Ritz, is going to have the two tanks of the right side, or the north side as this map describes, on the as compared to the middle of the spine. This is going to be super important because there's a new mechanic, a dot that'll randomly hit people that a healer who is assigned will dispel, and that buff will hop across the spine from one side to the other. And what we want is for that buff to land on one of the tanks, because what it'll do is it'll buff the tank for the duration of the entire fight. Now, most of the other mechanics that we're used to from normal spine are going to be there. So there's a couple things that we'll just need to touch up and adjust, and we should be able to get this thing down. So the first piece is that we're going to kill all three corruptions, three out of the four corruptions, and keep that top right corruption alive. That's going to stay the same. The only thing is different is just the position that I introduced at the beginning of this video. Most of the DPS is going to be left of spine. Here we're kind of scattered. But what we want is, if you're facing the head like this camera view is, we want to be left of the midline, and the two tanks will be right of the midline. The other thing that's new for Heroic is that we all need to lock in on the same fiery pit, and Ritz wants us in the bottom left on this video. We all need to be together. We need a spirit link, and we need a mass AoE heals because the damage is going to be big during the roll. Once we pop out of the roll, we're going to get back into the position, and then we're going to DPS down the amalgamation. And then for grips, it's the same thing where the one remaining corruption is going to randomly grip. Right here, you see it. What DPS needs to do is pay attention to the Foji bar, and about 2 seconds before the grip goes out, you need to target switch to the corruption to absolutely minimize the time that grip has somebody. So it's going to be a little bit of a heads up, need to start DPSing before the grip goes out, not after the grip goes out. At about 20% health of the amalgamation, the DPS is going to switch to the bloods that Nilth is going to be accumulating. And then at 10% health, we're going to switch back to the amalgamation, and Ritz will drag it up over to the plate to blow up the plate. That explosion, we're going to pop our raid-wide defensive. So the first explosion, it's going to be Aura Mastery, and then the second explosion, it's going to be a barrier. Again, because of the transition from normal to heroic, the damage going out is going to be massive. So here, this is where we pop our Aura Mastery, and this is going to be super important. Once this burning tendon is exposed and targetable, everybody needs to absolutely pump their little hearts out. All DPS cooldowns, the tanks, hell, even the healers need to DPS this thing down. The goal would be to get it under 50% after the first explosion, because we're, as different from normal to heroic, it's going to have a lot more health, and the longer this fight goes on, the less likely it is we're going to survive. So the goal is to get 2 explosions, 2 exposures, and then that tendon dies. The next change is that after the plate blows off, we're going to the top left fire pit. Again, we all need to be stacked up because the rolls are going to be massive DPS to the raids. So we all need to be AoE healing, and we need the Spirit Link totem to be able to survive it. Otherwise, we all die. After the roll, it's rinse and repeat. DPS is going to focus the amalgamation. They're going to flip to the corruptions a few seconds before the grip goes out, and otherwise at 20% of health of the amalgamation, we're going to switch to the bloods. And then at 10%, Ritz drags it over to the plate to blow up the amalgamation to expose the tendon. This is a very straightforward fight, mechanically speaking. It's just going to be the coordination, mechanics, and the being able to survive the DPS survive the damage coming out to the raid. Ritz will give us the TLDR right before the fight, and he might tweak some of the numbers on, when we switch off the amalgamation to the Bloods and then back onto the amalgamation, depending on how much DPS we're doing. Otherwise, looking forward to some Prog tonight. Good luck, fam.